Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to Sound Selections. So this is where I'm going to be picking out music off of my Wall of Wonder, the 800 CD rack that I have here. This is the stuff that I keep out. It is my most popular that I listen to often, and so I can just go to it and easily get to it kind of a thing. And we're going to be pulling out stuff that I would call, today's listening, or the stuff I'll be listening to today through the week, that kind of stuff. And it's based on current events and things that are just going on within music news and whatnot. And I thought that'd be a fun thing for you guys to see here and hopefully spark some new listening ideas for you as well. Some sound selections of your own out of this. But before we dive into it, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the button to subscribe, please do that. Help me out. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with this new episode of Sound Selections. So this past week, we've got a lot going on. Def Leppard put out a brand new album, so I've been listening to that a lot. But of course, whenever I get something new, I also end up digging back into the catalog. So I'm going to be pulling out some Def Leppard, and this is stuff I go back to often here. One of them is actually this, Retrospective, which, was a compilation of B-sides, outtakes, things like that. But they went back into the studio and they actually worked on these songs, fleshing them out, turning it into a full-fledged album. So opening tracks on this, Desert Song, Fractured Love, I really like those songs. And then it just carries through there. There's more ballads on this thing than typical albums and stuff, but great album nonetheless. And I end up going back to this a lot, Adrenalized. It's the album I started with them on. I got into, I'll take that back. I got into them during Pyromania. And my first cassette ever was Hysteria. So, that someone gave me, I have to say. So, not one that I bought. First one that I bought, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. But first cassette that was given to me that I really connected with, Def Leppard, Hysteria. Anyway, sorry. This album here, though, was the first one released while I was a fan of the band, having, not just stuff I was hearing on the radio or whatever. So I go back to this album a lot. I know it's not thought of as highly as, Pyromania, Hysteria, etc., but I do like that album a lot. I loved all the singles that came off of it, and I still go back to that. So there's that. So I've got some Def Leppard and stuff. And one other thing I'll point out here, the self-titled album from 2015. I think if you like this new album, you'd really like this album here. A lot of people kind of skipped over this, didn't want to give the band a chance after, maybe so many missed albums and things of that nature that just didn't connect with them. But this one here was a real return to form album, having that classic sound, in my opinion, or as close as we were ever going to get to it, of the Hysteria and Adrenalized sound and so forth. So very good stuff. Do recommend checking it out. Check out the second single on there and song Dangerous. Very good stuff. Now, so another album that came out this past week on Friday, May 27th, that's the day that we're talking about here. Michael Schenker Group put out a brand new album called Universal. And so been really digging that. I have done a full review for that one, and as well as the Def Leppard that I just mentioned. I'll leave links to both of those in here in case you want to check those out in more detail. But I've got some Michael Schenker on the wall here. And one I want to go back to and listen to again is the Graham Bonnet album, Assault Attack. This one here, really good. Plus, a week or so earlier was the new Graham Bonnet album. So I'm still a little bit in that vein, and I think I'm going to be pulling this one out and enjoying it. But one that I go back to quite often here is this one here, In the Midst of Beauty. Really, it's under the name Schenker Barden. It's not an MSG album, but it's really good all the way through. This thing is just classic. And of course, if you don't recognize Schenker Barden, then Gary John Barden, original vocalist for MSG, singing on this. So in my opinion, it's an MSG album, even though it really came out under the Schenker Barden title. So that's a great one. But here's the first one that I ever got, the self-titled release, or just simply called MSG, which was Macaulay Schenker album. So this one here, Eve, Paradise, When I'm Gone, We Believe in Love. Oh, so good. This is, classic late 80s, early 90s glam metal, in my opinion. It's just so good. Can't get enough of that. Check out the guys on the back there. Robin McCauley has really made quite the comeback with Black Swan, doing a solo album and so forth. Of course, he did that because Michael Schenker brought him back in to the fold for the Michael Schenker Fest. And between all of that, he wasn't doing a whole lot. And so he gets back into that. And now, boom, he is just everywhere doing a lot. And I'm so glad, because he has such a great set of pipes that, even in this day and age, it's like you wouldn't expect him to still be singing that good, but he is. So I'm loving it. Black Swan, check it out if you don't know it. Great little super group. And then, unfortunately, we had some people pass this past week. Alan White of Yes passed away, 72 years old, May 26th, I believe. And so I'm definitely going to want to be, remembering him and listening to some Yes. You guys also know I'm a big Yes fan, so that one was a hard one. It really kind of hit me in the stomach, a good gut punch, kind of thing. And it just was like, I kind of knew it was coming. We saw it in the news. He hasn't been well for a while. But at the same time, anytime you lose your musical heroes like that, it's a hard thing. And so, one of the ones I'm going to pull out, because it's one of my favorite modern day albums, is Fly From Here. This one here is Fly From Here Return Trip. So it's actually the one that has Trevor Horn singing on it, replacing the person who sang on the original one, Benoit David. And so this one here is essentially a drama era lineup. Really, really good though. It was a song actually from that era that was performed live but never recorded, turned into a suite, and then the album. And ultimately here, Trevor Horn went back in, remixed the thing, added his vocals on it, turning it into a drama era lineup. This was after Chris Squire had passed, so it was more like a tribute and final send off to him, which was a cool thing. So I've got that definitely. But let's see, I've also got these. These are the remixes that Steve Wilson did. And we've got Tales, which was the first one Alan played on. This is one I don't really get into a lot, Relayer. Musically, it's just a little, I don't know what to call it. Has a sort of dissonant style sound to some of it that's in there. And I'm still working on it. I'm sure it's going to be one of those ones that one day it's going to click, and then it's going to just be like, oh my God, why didn't I enjoy this the whole time through? My favorite album, though, is Close to the Edge. Alan does not play on that one, though. But and I also got Fragile in here. And then the Yes album. So all of these are Steve Wilson remixes. I do love these. The sound on these is great. They're also those ultimate HQ CD recordings, which makes them even better. So Japanese releases. I don't know why the US never got these Steve Wilson remixes. You can download and stream them, but you couldn't buy them. Had to import them. So got that. Going to be enjoying those for sure. I've got over 150 Yes CD and solo project and related albums and stuff, so I often go back to those. And with that in mind, I usually cannot listen to Yes without listening to some Asia. And even though the connection that's in there is a little thin in the sense that we've really only got Jeff Downs, but he has been in two different lineups and he's in the current lineup, and just, that's present day. But, Steve Howe started with Asia. So it was a Yes thing when it started, and a little less so over the years and whatnot. But this album here, Gravitas, which is actually their last one, and Steve Howe does not play on it. Sam Colson was the guitar player that was selected, and Asia has really been Jeff Downs' baby ever since. Steve Howe plays on the first two albums. He comes back and he guests at some different times, and they had reunion. In fact, got a couple of those here. This one here is simply titled 30. And then this one's good, Omega. So Finger on the Trigger, that was actually a song that Wetton and Downs, John Wetton, Jeff Downs, who were doing these Icon albums, 1, 2, and 3. So if you love Asia, John Wetton and Jeff Downs, and they're always the writers of these songs, there are 3 albums out there under the title of Icon, and they're Wettin Downs albums. And so that song, Finger on the Trigger, was one of the songs on those, which I always thought was really great, and later on they recorded with Asia. So cool little connection there and tie over to it. But yeah, pulling these out. And I actually had this one out last night, Then and Now. It is a greatest hits with new stuff. So 5, actually it has 6 of their old songs on here. They break it from then, those old songs, and now. They had 4 new songs recorded. So I love compilations that have the hits, but also have new material, or new material at the time. Those are the most fun, in my opinion, to be listening to. So definitely got that. And I want to jump back just a bit, because since the new Def Leppard's out and the stadium tour is getting ready to kick off, I think it's like June 6th. That, of course, featuring Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Poison, and then you got Joan Jett opening, and so forth. Going to be a really big deal. So, of course, I don't know, and this has been over the last 2 years, but ever since that's been announced, I can't listen to Def Leppard without listening to Motley Crue and Poison, or vice versa. It's just like ingrained in me right now because of that lineup and that sort of mega idea of the tour. So I'm definitely going to be pulling out the classic Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. Was streaming this one the other day. I'm going to be pulling it out now and listening to it here. And just personally, I think CDs sound a hell of a lot better on a stereo than they do streaming this stuff. But this is the album I got into the band on, 1989. Fell in love with these guys, went backwards, bought everything, and I've been a fan ever since of theirs. So loving that. And then Poison. This was the album I got into the band on, Flesh and Blood, and if you can see, this is the original album cover with the blood still streaming down after a fresh tattoo on it, which they later censored and cleaned all of that up because certain places didn't want to carry it. But I love this album too. Valley of Lost Souls, the opening track on here. It's so good. They did make well, they didn't make a video for that. They made a video for the next track on here, Flesh and Blood Sacrifice. But Valley of Lost Souls is excellent. And then, yes, Flesh and Blood Sacrifice, that one actually had a video that was never released. So filmed at the same time as Unskinny Bob. Made it onto the home video, never released officially. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube now and stream it and everything. But it was one of those special videos that was only for the home video at the time when released, so that it would get people to buy it. But I've always loved that song. So there you go. And of course the rest, we know the rest of the hits that are on that thing. So yeah, you know, Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard. And I do have to say, is I found it interesting that for the longest time, Motley Crue was listed as the headliner. Then things have changed over the last 2 years, where unfortunately we've seen a lot of issues with Vince Neil getting in trouble with law and drinking and not being able to perform live, when he's doing his solo dates and stuff. And I think everybody is a bit worried this thing is not going to pan out in terms of the tour. Suddenly, Def Leppard is announced as a co-headliner. Motley Crue and Def Leppard would co-headline, switching dates around as the headliner. And that was never the case before this. And I'm wondering if that has to do with the fact if things implode and fall apart with Motley Crue, Def Leppard can easily take on the mantle of the headliner to sort of save everything. We'll have to wait and see. We'll follow that in the news and so forth. And you can catch up on all of that stuff that's going on in my weekly music news events called Music News Roundup that I do every Friday. And certainly if you guys have enjoyed this video here, leave your comments, let me know your thoughts on it, and maybe we'll do some more of this sort of series called Sound Selections, giving you guys some ideas for the week ahead, and of course pulling out, letting you know what I'll be listening to for the week ahead as well. All right, everyone, take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.